Get free tech advice for your business from O2 Gurus. Search O2 Business for more. Hey guys, welcome to BTech. It's Basil here with the Sony Xperia Z3 Plus. You guys wanted to know how the front-facing camera stacked up against the competition. We have an iPhone 6 Plus, a Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, and an LG G4, and we can tell you exactly how it stacks up. We've taken two shots, one in relatively good lighting, a little bit stronger on one side than another, and one backlit, and we'll be able to walk through them now. We're gonna kick off with the iPhone, and you can see that's a picture of me. Excuse the slight grimace on my face. I'm trying my best to smile, forced smile it may be. I can go right in on the eyes, and you can see this is the lowest resolution front camera of the bunch, I think, and it's pretty evident. It gets pretty grainy, although on the good side you can't see too many pores, not too much detail that's going to unflatter. Rather, you've just got relatively smooth skin given my not so perfect complexion. Now taking a look at the high resolution 5 megapixel Sony Xperia Z3 Plus, and that looks sharper, definitely looks sharper. Looks pretty well exposed. You can see all the detail there. My face is maybe a little bit less saturated than on the iPhone. iPhone cameras have always tended to be very forgiving and made me maybe look a little bit more tanned than I actually am, but I can't see myself, so I'm not in a position to tell you which is more accurate. The reality is though, both look really good. The exposure, given the background and foreground balance, is better on the iPhone 6 Plus because you have less of a blown out background, which suggests that the Sony Xperia Z3 Plus placed greater priority on exposing my face correctly. Now taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, and that has a really well exposed shot over the whole thing. The picture, pretty sharp actually. I look nice and tanned as well. I'm probably not that tanned, but you can see some pores appearing, not so flattering, but it does bode well in terms of accuracy and sharpness. My beard looks pretty scruffy. You can see individual hairs. Pretty good going. It looks like there's almost been a beauty filter applied to it. I set beauty mode to 0, so I'd say the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge probably takes the most flattering pictures while still retaining a really good amount of detail, as you can see. Also, if I lock in on the eyes right there, I can lock in on the eyes on the Xperia. That's the closest I can get on the Z3 Plus, and this is the closest I can get on the iPhone. Yeah, the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge looks really nice and detailed. Probably not quite as crisp on the eyes as the Z3 Plus, but definitely more so than the iPhone. Now we can take a look at the G4. The LG G4 interestingly flipped me. I haven't tweaked any settings, so this is a factory settings for selfies. And yeah, it's flipped my face round. Still, with that in mind, you do get very sharp, it looks almost over sharpened results. Probably amongst the sharpest, you can see more pores, but exposure, it has half my face slightly more exposed and the other quite dark, so maybe didn't pay as much attention to exposing my face correctly as the others. But again, zooming right in on the eyes, I can get very, very close because it has got a very high resolution 8 megapixel front facing camera. And indeed, my eyes do look pretty sharp, sharper than the rest actually. So the LG G4 may win in terms of sharpness, but it doesn't win in terms of flattery. The most flattering is probably the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. The Sony Xperia is a really good balance of the two. Placed a lot of focus on exposing my face correctly, while the iPhone 6 Plus focused on exposing the scene correctly, and produced a really flattering image, even if it wasn't the highest resolution out there. So we can zoom back out and we can take a look at how it copes with backlit scenarios. So we can get our next picture up there. It's a different way for each of these cameras, so you'll have to bear with me on this one. And we can see the iPhone 6 Plus right there. Really, really decent picture. We've got my face actually looking better than it was when it wasn't backlit. So what the iPhone 6 Plus is doing again is it's focusing on making the whole scene look good rather than just my face. It isn't overexposing. And that's a pretty flattering picture. I'd be happy sending that to someone. If we take a look at the Sony Xperia Z3, it's focused on exposing my face, Z3 Plus. The background is overexposed, overblown. Looks like it's pretty good detail there. You can see some sharpening going on. Ironically, It doesn't look too much sharper than the iPhone 6 Plus, but it definitely does look a bit crisper. Now moving on to the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge. Really sharp, but really quite smooth as well, quite flattering in terms of colors. Again, I feel like it's almost smoothed my skin out a bit, but it's focused really nicely on maintaining good exposure in terms of foreground and background right there. Although the iPhone's is probably the best, pretty much balanced. So the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge and the iPhone 6 really do focus on the whole picture. Now onto the LG G4. Highest resolution, loads of detail on there, more detail than I'd probably care to share, but at the same time, really, really good if you want a high detail front-facing camera. Again, it didn't focus as much on exposing the whole scene correctly, which is why you have some overblown elements in the background. But yeah, that's been a front-facing camera comparison between these four top-end phones. Hopefully you've enjoyed. Just a quick run through of what we found. The iPhone 6 Plus exposes the scene beautifully. It doesn't have as much detail, but not everyone wants detail with selfies because detail isn't always the most flattering thing in the world. If we take a look at the Sony Xperia Z3 Plus, it exposes a face every time. That means a face detection is going to be the real focus here. That's not a bad thing at all, and it does produce a pretty decent shot, and we're guessing it would be significantly better than its predecessor. I wouldn't say it's my favorite of the bunch. I'd say my favorite would probably go to the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge, and the iPhone 6 Plus would be joint winners on the selfie stakes because they balance the front and back. And also, if you're taking a group shot and you have more than one face but it can only detect one, you don't want exposure just right on one. You want the whole shot to be well exposed. The LG is probably my least favorite, even though it has a really high resolution front-facing camera. The detail that it pulls up isn't always super flattering, as you can see on my pretty prickly cheek right there. And the colors aren't as warm as well. You take selfies to look good, but you take selfies also to look like yourself and get a balanced shot. And the LG falls the shortest in that regard, which is interesting because it's actually got my favorite rear-facing camera of the bunch. Hopefully you found the video useful. If you have, make sure you click the like button and subscribe to BTech for more videos akin to this one. If you do like the channel, make sure that you do share our videos as well. That massively helps us out. Thanks for watching BTech.